The lesson today is going to involve ordering rational numbers again, similar to what we did in our last lesson, but this time we're going to be dealing with fractions. So instead of decimals, we're going to be taking a look at fractions and how do we order fractions from least to greatest or from biggest to smallest. Now, if we think back to the previous lesson on any type of numbers or previous lesson a couple of times ago, rational numbers are any number that can be described by that can be described by a fraction. Okay, so these are listed as fractions, mixed numbers, or decimals. Today we're going to be taking a look at fractions and how do we order together fractions. Now, fractions are often tougher than decimals to describe which is bigger, unless we have something that is with a common denominator. So if the denominator of two fractions, if the denominators, of two fractions are the same, okay, then the numerator, now again that's the top number, determines which is larger. Okay, so if the denominators are the same, then the numerator determines which is larger. And remember that we're going to be using our less than symbol and our greater than, and we could also use equal as well. But with less than, okay, so this is less than, and this is greater than. Okay. Remember that it's where it's open, that represents which one is bigger. So if it's opened this way, so like less than is open to this side, this number would be bigger than this number. Again, if there was numbers there. Greater than is exactly opposite, and equal means that they are exactly the same. So let's determine which fraction is bigger. We have 1/3 and we have 2/3. Well, 1 is smaller than 2. 2 is bigger than 1. So in other words, we're going to put the less than sign because 1/3 is less than 2/3. Okay, and that's what that less than means. And when we talk left to right, we should be able to kind of describe it in terms like that. Okay, so 1/3 is less than 2/3. Now, 3/4 and 1/4, well, 3 is bigger than 1, so 3/4 is greater than 1/4. Okay, it's bigger than 1/4. And finally, I put some improper fractions in here, so we have 9/7 and 13/7. Again, both 7s. The 13 is bigger than the 9, so this would look like that. Okay, it's the less than sign. It's opening up to the bigger value. Now, it's different if the denominators are not the same. So, if the denominators are different in the two fractions, then we need to create equivalent fractions so that the denominators are the same. Okay, and so this goes back to what we did with adding and subtracting, and so we should remember that. Now, so what we're doing here, and I've completed a couple of them already, if they have uncommon denominators, we need to create common ones. So you'll notice here we have a 2 and a 3, so we multiply by 3 and multiply by 2 to get 3/6 and 2/6, and 3 is bigger, so that means that 1/2 is bigger than 1/3. Similarly, in this one here, we have 3/4 and 2/3, and so we notice that, again, we have to multiply this time by 3 and this time by 4, 9/12 and 8/12. The 9 is bigger, so we put in the greater than sign, meaning that 3/4 is greater than 2/3. On this next one here, this one's a little bit simpler because we can make the 5 into 10 just by multiplying by 2. This will give us 6/10 and 7/10, and if we know that the 7 is bigger than the 6, we can put in our less than sign to show that the 7 is bigger, and so 3/5 is less than 7/10. Now the final one is a little bit tricky because we actually don't have a fraction here. Remember, we can always put that over 1. So here we have an improper fraction and a whole number, 11/3, and again they have different denominators. We can make the 1 into a 3 just by multiplying this all by 3. So 11/3 and 12/3. Well, the 12 is bigger, so we are going to put in the less than sign because 11/3 is less than 4, just by a very little bit. Now I'd like you to work on question number 1. It's comparing fractions. Okay, create 2 equivalent fractions and then solve based on that.